Hello and welcome to TVB News. The government has pushed back the implementation of the municipal waste disposal charging scheme, originally slated on April 1st to August 1st. The government said it's a responsible move to delay the rollout to allow time for the public and relevant sectors to better understand how the scheme works. Jackie Lin with more.
Following mounting concerns and confusion around the waste charging scheme's citywide execution comes a 4-month postponement of the measure. The waste disposal scheme was supposed to take effect in just 2 months. Secretary for Environment and Ecology Zhe Qinwen said, as a responsible government, more publicity efforts are needed, and on April 1st, the pilot waste disposal scheme will be introduced first among some buildings.
I must also emphasize that we are not only just to put more time into our publicity and education, we are also put forward a new approach. That is, we will put forward demonstrations. Different sectors and the public can actually see how waste charging will in operation, how it is operated, and if we have some minor problems, how they will be resolved.
Zhe dismissed reports that the delay was because of the legislation of Article 23 under the Basic Law, which is likely happening in the first half of this year. And why August 1st? The environment chief said that's a good time to have the scheme started during school's summer holiday. He said more details will be unveiled in the Legislative Council on Monday. As for the sale of designated rubbish bags, authorities said the 3,000-plus retail locations will begin selling them between late this month and next month. It's the second postponement of the waste disposal scheme. Some cleaning staff at private housing estates said the delay could help relieve workers' burden as more residents dump their trash before the Lunar New Year holiday. David Swan, president of the Federation of Hong Kong Property Management Industry, said the delay allows more time for the industry to better understand the policy. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
11 people pleaded guilty to taking part in a riot in 2019. They were sentenced to jail of between 46 and 61 months. The 11 defendants pleaded guilty to rioting outside the Polytechnic University in November 2019. The district court judge described the riot as extremely violent, adding it affected the whole city at the time. The judge said while some defendants were below 18 years old at the time, they should have known their conduct was wrong. They were sentenced to 48 months in jail. Following funding cuts from the Arts Development Council, the Hong Kong Federation of Drama Societies held a press conference today, stressing the city's art industry needs clearer guidelines on where the limit on creative expression is now. In response, the government said it supports the Arts Development Council's decision while criticizing claims that there is no more space for creativity in Hong Kong as misleading. Jackie Lin with more.
A double whammy for the Hong Kong Federation of Drama Societies, with no government venue and no more subsidies for this year's Hong Kong Drama Awards. This, as the Arts Development Council said, last year's ceremony had harmed its reputation, and the council had to minimize risks, including potential violations of the national security law. The event invited political cartoonist Wen Zi and journalist Bao Choi as award presenters. The council made it clear that the funding cut was related to these two people. The Drama Federation said the council's decision harmed the group's dignity. Responding to the council's allegation that the ceremony's MCs used the term red line, Dominic Cheung, vice chairman of the Hong Kong Federation of Drama Societies, said the art industry wants a clearer indication on the limit for creative expression.
We should know that for freedom, there's always a limitation. We know, we accept that. And that's why we want to know where is the red line, so we know how to do our work. Then we are more willing to work with the government, Hong Kong Arts Development Council, to build up a free, creative expression country.
Cheung also hopes the council could put in place an appeal mechanism.
There's no chance for us to explain ourselves. It is a sort of relationship we have been building up for more than almost 30 years. It really do hurt us.
Expressing disappointment too was award-winning playwright Candice Chong.
I would really hope that they will rethink about what they are doing and how much fear they are trying to spread in our society. Thank you.
Throwing his weight behind the Arts Development Council's decision, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Kevin Yeung Lam claims that there is no more space for creativity in Hong Kong as misleading.
資助團體咧都一樣嘅。
Lawmaker Johnny Ng, a former council member at the Arts Development Council, said the choice of award presenters last year embarrassed the council. He said with the national security law well publicized, the federation should handle the event in tune with the social atmosphere. When asked whether the 32nd Hong Kong Drama Awards this year will be conducted with more caution, the Federation said the show will go on even without subsidies, and it will continue to abide by the Arts Development Council's guidelines and principles to hold the ceremony in a fair, legal, and reasonable manner. But there will be adjustments to the event because of limited resources. Jackie Lim, TVB News.
Foreign Minister Wang Yi stressed the need for stronger Sino-Brazilian ties as he met his counterpart in Brasilia. Wang noted Beijing's support for the South American nation as they exert their growing influence in international affairs. The foreign minister made his way to the Brazilian capital after completing his tour in Africa. Wang noted this year marked the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Brazil, and suggested raising bilateral ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Mauro Vieira said the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro later this year will be a great opportunity for Chinese and Brazilian leaders to increase communication and cooperation. Wang will also meet with Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva before heading for Jamaica. Welcome back. The police are continuing their investigation into several Christian Zhang Sheng Association directors' alleged involvement in a suspected $50 million fraud case. This as its anti-drug college on Lantau Island continues operations today. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Chima Wang, Lantau Island this morning. Students and staff members could be seen returning to Christian Junction College. A staff member said the headmaster Elman Chan and founder Jacob Lam, who are currently overseas and wanted by the police, will hold a meeting to address the suspected fraud case. A teacher noted Lam continued to give work instructions to staff members via WhatsApp this morning. She added many parents called the school to voice their concerns about the suspected scandal's effect on their children's preparation for the HKDSE exam. She stressed the college will do its utmost to protect their students. The college was established in 1993 and attained the status of a secondary school 5 years later. There are currently 17 youngsters receiving education while combating their drug addiction at the college. This after police arrested 4 Christian Junction Association directors yesterday on suspicion of being connected to a fraud case, which involved around $50 million of donations. Lawmaker Teck Chi-yoon believed the incident served as a major blow to the institution's donation campaign. He said he hopes the Education Bureau and Social Welfare Department will take responsibility for maintaining normal operations at Christian Junction College. He added the authorities could consider whether other organizations could take over its work. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Parts of the U.S. are being hit by extreme winter weather. New York City, which only saw its first snow in more than 2 years on Tuesday, laid out warnings of possibly 3 to 5 inches of snow. This as snowstorms turned roads into icy death traps from Oregon to Tennessee and even sent a plane skidding off a taxiway. More from NBC News.
As the unrelenting streak of perilous weather powers on, tonight, a plane skidding off the taxiway in Rochester, New York.
Use your discretion. An aircraft just split off taxiway Alpha 2.
Emergency vehicles surround the plane, racing to evacuate the 53 people on board. Luckily, no one was injured.
1, 2, 3.
As the deluge of snow and ice that froze over the Pacific Northwest trudges cross-country. Treacherous roads sending cars sliding from Washington to Alabama.
It's cold, it's freezing.
A year since a blizzard killed dozens of people around Buffalo, Western New York transformed again by winter's wrath. This restaurant is barely recognizable, frozen by the bone-chilling temperatures and buried by feet of lake-effect snow. Parts of the greater Buffalo area have seen more than 60 inches of snow since Saturday. That's almost as tall as I am. Hundreds of trucks and snowplows working to clear roads, with schools closed for the 4th day in a row tomorrow.
Any one of these snow mounds could be a car. You really have to be careful when you're driving through here.
Over the last week, at least 47 people died in the extreme weather nationwide. 3 of those victims killed when a power line fell on their car in Oregon Wednesday. In Wisconsin, DeAndre White's family believes the 40-year-old died of hypothermia, remembering him as someone that would always help others. And in Tennessee, a state of emergency after the most recent winter storms claimed at least 14 lives. This dramatic video just released by state police in nearby Kentucky, capturing the rescue of 4 stranded college students who had been camping. Winds whipping around them. As tonight, the barrage of brutal conditions is burying communities coast to coast.
A court in Thailand has handed a political activist a possibly record-breaking sentence for the criminal offense of insulting the monarchy. 30-year-old Mongkon Tirakot was handed a half-century-long prison term after being found guilty of 25 violations of the law. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Mongkon Tirakot had originally been sentenced last year to 28 years in prison by the provincial court in the northern province of Chiang Rai for 14 of 27 posts on Facebook for which he was charged. However, on appeal, he was found guilty by the Northern Region Court of Appeal in Chiang Rai on Thursday, not just in the 14 cases, but also in 11 of the 13 cases for which the lower court had acquitted him. Thus, the Court of Appeal sentenced him to an additional 22 years in prison, bringing his total to 50 years. Technically, he had been given a prison term of 75 years, but the sentence was cut by 1/3 in acknowledgement of his cooperation in the legal proceedings. Mongkon's defense team said they will appeal the case to the Supreme Court. However, his application to be allowed to continue to be free on bail was denied. In Thailand, the law on insulting the monarchy carries a prison term of 3 to 15 years for each count. Critics say the law is often wielded as a tool to quash political dissent. Student-led pro-democracy protests beginning in 2020 openly criticised the monarchy, leading to vigorous prosecutions under the law, which had previously been infrequently employed. Daniel Rao, TV News.
Back locally, former Next Digital Media CEO Chung Kim-hung continued to testify today in the national security trial of former media tycoon Jimmy Lai. This is the 13th day of Lai's trial. Mimo Singai with details.
As the trial of Jimmy Lai entered its 13th day, armed police were seen outside the West Kowloon Law Courts. The prosecution continued their direct examination of Chung Kim-hung, the former CEO of Next Digital Media, today. The prosecution mentioned a WhatsApp conversation between Lai and Jern on April 26, 2019. In the conversation, Lai asked Jern to contact the former store manager of Causeway Bay Books, Lam Wai-Ki, who was listed as a wanted figure by mainland authorities. Lai also sent Jern a screenshot, a conversation between Lai and Mr. Liu, who Jern thought was an RTHK cameraman. Lai asked Mr. Liu to secure an interview with Lam because the ex-media tycoon wanted to make Lam's story Apple Daily's lead story on the 28th, the day of an anti-extradition bill protest. Lai said the interview could encourage more people to take to the streets. Jern was on a business trip in Taiwan at the time and interviewed Lam together with Apple Daily colleagues in Taiwan. Jern then wrote the interview article himself before sending it to former Apple Daily editor-in-chief Ryan Law. Jern told Law to publish the article on the internet as soon as possible. The article was published in print on Saturday with the heading being "Last Call from Lam Wai-Ki before his exile, defend Hong Kong and protest tomorrow." Jern said he had used direct Cantonese quotes from Lam in the article because he believed that would gather more support among the local readers. Jern received another message from Lai after the publication and understood that Lai was not pleased with the article's effect. Lai later sought help from the CEO of Hong Kong Watch, Benedict Rogers, to set up an interview with former Hong Kong Governor Chris Patten. Patten talked about potential damage that the extradition bill could bring to Hong Kong. The article was published online on the same day as Jern received it from Lai. In July 2019, Jern received a call from Lai saying he had met with the then U.S. Secretary of State. Lai wanted the newspaper to focus on that aspect and put more attention on it. Jiang said Lai mentioned sanctions more often since his meeting in the US, which affected the reporting angles of Apple Daily as it became more radical. News 9 TVB News.
That is the news. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.